Good day and welcome to our short demonstration and full explanation of how to register a domain and get that domain working on Office 365 with Microsoft. Not very challenging, but there are a number of steps. Now, I'm going to use GoDaddy to register, but you can use anybody you want. But I will demonstrate the GoDaddy registration process. They're the largest hoster in the world, and they're quite low. So let's get on with it. Now, in my case, UR Tech is registered as a GoDaddy reseller. So if you want to get a slightly lower price than what GoDaddy offers, just go over to our contact page in the top right corner and select discount hosting. And you'll look at this and go, wow, that kind of looks like GoDaddy, just some different colors and logo. Yeah, it's the same thing. Now, the domain that my friend wants me to get is this CSUCPCA one, which is quite a long name. So I'm going to click search and I'm going to find, I think that it's available. It is. Now, I also, however, can do a search and shorten it up. I don't think he needs the CA at the end. That stands for Constituency Association, if anybody actually cares, which of course you wouldn't, but you might. So it could be anything at all. But there you go. So there's the domain that we're going to use. I have already convinced him that that is the domain that we should be buying. So I'll select Add to Cart. And if there's other domains you want to take, just select them as well. Now, you'd think, well, I already have a domain. Why would I possibly take the CA, the org, or the net? Well, usually these are what are called defensive domains. What will happen is, let's say you ended up registering something huge, that's something that became a target, like Best Buy, right? Some company, McDonald's or something like that, right? You become a real big company. Well, you'll find that other people will register these lesser domains and then either try to fool others with that domain, or they'll try to extort money from you by trying to sell it to you for thousands of dollars later on. So for a few bucks, you can register it. My friend actually also wants the CA portion of this domain, so we're going to get both. So let's do a search for it. Hopefully it's still available. And add to cart. There we go. Now let's go to continue to cart. And this comes up and it's telling you, it's trying to scare you. Basically, the privacy stuff is, I think, kind of silly. Well, privacy is definitely not silly. Privacy when it comes to registering your domain is silly. You probably want people to know who you are. So I would leave it at no thanks, certainly not paying anything extra for it. Okay, so at this point, they're trying to pitch us on those same things, which are garbage, in my humble opinion. So let's click continue to checkout. And what will happen here is it'll ask us to sign in. Now, if you don't already have an account, you can register one now. But in my case, I'm just going to click sign in the top right-hand corner and select, I've already got my credentials cached. So I'll gray those out so you can't see them. And you can see here a couple of things. One, it's pitching us again on this silly security, which is, I think, just profit. It doesn't make sense. The second thing is, I thought these were, $10, $12, $13 a domain. Why would it get to 30? Because it's 3 years. So you can set it to 1 year. If you do that, you're going to have to go through renewals every year, and that's a giant pain. So in this case, I need this domain for 2 years or maybe a little bit more than 2 years. So I'm going to select 3 years so that I never have to renew this domain. Not that it's a crisis to do that, it's just why bother? It's so cheap. Also, as you see here, the price went down because you registered through Up and Running. So again, it's a little cheaper if you do it through us rather than going directly with GoDaddy. But it doesn't make any difference. Both of them are fine. Let's take continue to checkout. And now it's asking for payment. These two credit cards are in fact old. So I'm going to select add payment and I'm going to put in some new numbers. Of course, I'm going to hide this so you can't see it. There, so I've entered my credit card and click continue. And now we're on the complete stage here. We're ready to go. So I'm going to select complete purchase. All right, so at this point, I've got a receipt. The transaction went through. Yay. All right, so I've clicked the logo in the top left-hand corner just to get me back to the home page. And now what we need to do is go off to Microsoft. So I've done something you won't do, which is I brought up an in-private session. You can just ignore that. It's just because I have multiple accounts, I don't want to screw things up. So you just go to portal.office.com and sign in. If you don't already have an account, you need to get one. Sign in. Click admin in the bottom left. I must say I don't like this new menu, but it's there, so click on navigation menu. When I say I don't like it, I just don't like that there doesn't appear to be a way to pin it, to leave it open, so it's a bit frustrating. But anyway, it is what it is. Click show all like I just did, then go to setup, then go to settings, domains, and add in the new domain. I'm going to select add. And in my case, the new domain is, well, that's one of them, so I'll click that and select use this domain. And it's going to say, you're going to need to prove that you own it. All right, now you notice here it says sign in to Up and Running Technologies. No, that's not where it's being hosted. It's being hosted with GoDaddy. GoDaddy. You can go through these step-by-step instructions, or you can just make the entry. So I'm just going to make the entry. I'm going to copy this. What we have to do is create a text entry with a total time to live, TTL of 3600, which is an hour, and make that entry. So let's do that. So now let's go back to our GoDaddy page. Click in the top right-hand corner and select My Products. And you'll see here I got a lot of domains. Just ignore that. You will probably not have this many. And here's the one that we want to play with, the DNS. So we click on DNS. And we select add. And in our case, we have to create a text record that goes to @ the value of that, and a time to live of 1 hour, which is 3600 seconds. So there we go. Click save. There it is. And then we go back to Microsoft, and we select verify. And there it is. We just proved we own the site. Yay! I'd like to interject for just 10 seconds and ask you to click like if you found this video useful. Our site is dedicated to explaining technology in simple ways and providing cookbook answers for technical problems. We spend a lot of time on Windows 10 and Windows Server. We spend a lot of time on Azure, Office 365, but mostly our products are about how-tos. Lots and lots of cookbooks, like how to uninstall something when it's stuck. If you would click subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. It really helps us with the Google algorithm. Thanks for your help, and back to the show. We have to create some more DNS records so that the email gets routed properly. Continue. And these are the entries that we need to make. So what we're going to do to make this easy is we're going to bring these up in two different windows so we can see them both at the same time. So let's expand records here. There we go. And really, what we want to do is just add these records. And it looks complex. It's not. I'm going to minimize this so we get a little more space here. There we go. A little easier to see. And the first thing we need to do is to create the MX record with the host name of @ with this entry. So let's do that. Just right-click and copy. Trying to create it yourself is just not a good thing. Just copy paste, so you definitely will get it wrong. Even doing this with copy paste, I'll probably still get stuff wrong. So click copy. Host was the @ sign. It points to bingo. The priority, it says set it to priority 10, and then click save. Now I see there was a 0 at the start of that. I don't know why that would be. So I've just removed that. Let's click save now and see if it goes through. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, that's fine. Then we need to create a text record with this entry. So let's do that. Add text record. Host is @ value is that, and 1 hour is fine. And auto discover. So the one we just entered is an SPF record, Sender Policy Framework. You don't have to worry about it, but basically it's a good piece of security to have. And Microsoft requires it. Auto discover is just that. It's so you can connect your cell phone or your machine, your computer, to the server just by having your username and password. In the days of yore, you used to need to have additional information like the host name of the mail server. That's no longer the case. So auto discover is a great little feature. So it's not absolutely required, but no way I'd live without it. So host is @ points to there. Time to live is an hour. Yep, that's fine. What's wrong? Oh, ha! Host name can't be @. That's right, hostname in this case is Autodiscover. Time to live is just that, by the way. It's how often the system has to check back to see if there have been changes. Now, our mail will be working usually within a few hours of this change, but there are some others. So if you look down here, you'll see advanced options. And while it's not absolutely necessary to set these up, probably a good idea. Now, in my case, I'm not using Skype for Business, so I'm not going to bother with that one for sure. And Intune is never going to be used for on this account. So I'm going to leave that. And most people will want to create these. I'm not going to bother. So let's just click Close, and let's go to CSUCP Setup. See what's wrong here. Incomplete setup. What's wrong? Continue setup. And here we click More Options and add our own DNS records. And then click Continue. Okay, so I've added my second domain. You didn't have to see it, so just to save time here. So I'm going to click Done. And now I have these two new domains that are up and happy. Now I just need to assign licenses to it. Billing, and if you don't already own licenses, so let's just take a look at your products. Right now you'll see this one is very little. It has, I think, 1 seat. Yeah, 1 seat, and it's already used. So I need to add another seat. Now, if I didn't already have a license, I could go buy one by going to Purchase Services, which I'll just show you briefly here, and it's just going to show you the, this is basic month to month, so on and so forth. By the way, the difference between month to month and not month to month is a discount. It's the same thing. It's just if you pay for the year up front, you get a few bucks off. So let's go back. And in my case, I can just click on the product, and I can select Manage Subscription Details because I have none available, and I want to buy a license. So you'd think you'd just put 1 in here, but if you notice, it says total licenses, so I have to change that to 2. Wow, is that weird? Yes. Click Save. Done. Now you can see it's already billed through the credit card that I had on file. If you didn't have one, it would ask you. All right, so now I can go assign this domain to whatever user I want. So now we go over to the navigation menu and select Users, Active Users, Add a User. I'm going to call this one Office, but you could call it Johnny or anything you want. And this one, I do not want to be at the Vote Leela domain. I'd like it to be at this new domain that I set up. And I don't want it to automatically create a password. So I'm going to type in here a password that is complex, and I could have it send an email, but I don't want it to. I also don't want the user to change that password, so I'm going to turn that off. Let's click Next. And yes, I want to assign one of the 2 licenses. And this user will have no admin access. And there's no need for me to fill in the rest of this. Although if you are having people search through an address book in your company, you probably will want to fill this in. In my case, I don't, but most people will. I'm going to select Next, and that is a new address. And no, email addresses are not case sensitive, so don't worry about the upper O and the upper CSUCP and so on and so forth. Now, let's select Finish Adding. And I'll show you how to add the other domain to this. No, I don't want to set up a template, so let's just click Close. There's a couple of ways to go about it, but the easiest way to go about it is to click in the top left-hand corner. And if you don't see everything that I see here, select Show All, and then scroll down until you see Exchange. And then in Exchange, click on Mailboxes, and you should see, oh, it hasn't been set up yet. So refresh. Okay, it hasn't been set up yet. This will take a few minutes to come through, so we'll wait. All right, that actually took about, just a few minutes. That was faster than I've seen it in the past. So you just keep refreshing until, you can click refresh here, but I just refreshed the whole thing. Okay, now there's Office. Now, what we want to do is I want to do 2 things. 1, I want this to work on multiple domains, and I want it to have multiple aliases. So I want Office, Info, RSVP, a whole bunch of things. So you might want, let's say your user's name is John Smith. You might want John Smith at csucp.com. You also might want J Smith. You also might want John. You also might want just Smith or manager or whatever else. So let's show you how to set those up. Click on Manage Email Address Types and select the plus. Now in this case, I want it to be Office, and I'll put lowercase in just to prove the point that it's not case sensitive. Boom. So now that account will receive email from both office@csucpca.com and office@csucp.com. But I also want to add in info and at UCP, the smaller one there. And I also want to add in RSVP. There we go. And by the way, yes, this is unlimited. I put dozens in before. I don't believe that there is a limit. So I'm just going to set these up. There they are. So there's a whole lot of them. So all of these will actually go to this account. So let's get out of that and run a quick test. So what I will do is I will bring up a different browser. Let's use Firefox. Firefox, by the way, is not the best to use with Office 365, but it works. And I'm just going to surf off to portal.office.com. Now, if I had Outlook, I'd just start Outlook and enter the core information and I would be on my way. Now, in this case, the user account that we set up was office@csucp.com. Oops, I didn't put an @ sign in there. And that won't work very well. Next. And I'll enter the password. This is the first time in, so you get a bunch of prompts. I don't care about any of this, and I'm just going to go to Outlook on the web. But again, if you had full Outlook or setting up on your phone, it's very easy. Just start it up, enter the username and password, and everything else will work. Mostly because, not mostly, but because you actually set up that auto-discover entry. So there's an account, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email from my Yahoo email. And that was going to office@csucp.com. And I'll put this as test 1. Send. Now, just because I'm here, I'm going to create another one. And I'm going to send it to info@csucpca.com. Right? So that's the different domain with the different email address. And I'll call this test 2. Now this is coming from Yahoo, so this is well outside of the range. Let's click send, and there's test 1. Test should show up. There it is. So mail's working. Now just to verify things are fine, I will click reply on this one. So over here, I'll click reply. Got it. Send. Now I'll go back to my mail, refresh. Bingo. So it's up. Now the last thing you might want to do, and doing this today is not going to be particularly useful, but in the very near future, Microsoft has announced that signatures are going to be stored in the cloud. So if you set up your signature here, it will also apply to Outlook and your phone and anything else, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you how to set up your signature. So simply just click Settings and view all Outlook settings and compose and reply. And that's where your signature goes. So I'll just put Chestermere Strathmore. That's odd, it doesn't know that word, but we'll just add it. Chestermere doesn't know Strathmore either. Okay, that's odd. UCP CA. Now, I'm going to set these 2 checkboxes because I want the signature to go on every message. I'll click Save. Yeah, and by the time you're watching this, if it's by the fall of 2021, I believe that the signature that you set up here will be valid, will actually get sucked into Outlook. So we'll leave that alone. So let's close that now. And I want to click New Message. There's my signature. Yay. If you found this video useful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd click like. As you can see here, we spent a lot of time doing this Office 365, Microsoft 365, Windows 10, Windows 11 now stuff. And it really helps with the Google algorithm. If you click subscribe, even better. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the section below. We'll get back to you within a day or so usually. Also, you can always get a hold of us right here at www.urtech.ca in the contact section. That's it. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.